For today's lesson, we're going to look at solving rationals, which will be two rational functions put together to find where they intersect. The first thing we'll look at is the how to, and we'll multiply by the denominators on both sides to eliminate them. So both of them will have different denominators. We're going to multiply by both sides to get them out of the fraction form. We will then get the variable x to one side. I'm going to pick the easiest one. You can pick either the left or right if that helps, but again, for me, I'm going to pick the easiest way to do it. And then we'll just solve for the variable, which means get the variable alone. This should be a common thing that you've been doing since Algebra 1. So our first example would be x over x minus 3 equals x plus 4 over negative x plus 3. And if you look right here, you'll see that we can take a negative 1 out to get x minus 3. I'm going to go ahead and do that to make life a little bit easier. Now if you did not see that, you can go ahead and work it out normally. That's no problem. And I made a mistake. Correct mistake there should be negative 3 because I took a negative 1 out on both sides. So now I'm going to multiply both sides by x minus 3 to get rid of the denominator. Okay. And this is getting rid of my fractions. And so that's going to give me x equals negative x minus 4. And I'm going to pick the left side to get my x because we don't have a number there. We'll have 2x equals negative 4. Divide both sides by 2. And that will give me x equals negative 2. That should be my answer. Now I'm going to go back and check it, make sure we have it right. So we have, I'll check in the top right, we have negative 2 divided by negative 2 minus 3 equals negative 2 plus 4 over negative 2 plus 3. And this is going to give me negative 2 over negative 5, and this will be giving me 2 over, oh, I'm sorry, this would be negative negative. I forgot to give that, so that will be 2 over 5. A negative divided by a negative is a positive, and so we have 2/5 equals 2/5. So that works out. And so where these cross, we can write our point at negative 2 2/5. Okay, so that is where these two would intersect. And we can also, we also checked it, and so if they ask us for our x value or our y value, we can then go back and figure out what it is. So we'll look at another example. Again, if you notice that this is opposite of that, you can take a negative 1 out. We're going to pretend like we did not. So I'm going to multiply both sides by a denominator we'll start with x plus 7, x plus 7. So this crosses out, giving me x, and then we need to multiply this out, so we get x squared plus 5x plus 7x plus 35. Okay, and again, all we're doing is that distribution from times 5. And this is going to be over negative x minus 7. Okay, I'm going to combine like terms on the next step just so I don't run out of room. I'm going to multiply both sides by negative x minus 7 now. And so we have negative x minus 7. And so we'll have negative x squared minus 7x equals, and again this is going to cross out of these two. We'll have x squared plus 12x plus 35. Okay. Now from here what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a quadratic. And I'm going to add x squared plus 7x on both sides. Okay. And that's going to give me 0 equals 2x plus 19x plus 35. Okay. Now from here you can either take the quadratic formula and find your answer, or you can factor it out. I don't think we have a factor here, so we'll do the quadratic. And so that will be I'm going to do that in a different color. Our quadratic formula will be negative b. So that's going to be negative 19 plus or minus the root of 19 squared minus 4ac, which is 35, divided by 2 times a. And we'll plug that into a calculator, and we'll get negative 2.5 for one of the answers, and we'll get negative 7 for the other answer. Okay. Now, looking at this, clearly negative 7 will not work because right here on both of these we'll have a undefined answer. Okay. And so we'll just look at negative 2.5 over negative 2.5 plus 7 and negative 2.5 plus 5. So again, we know it's not negative 7. And then negative, which is a positive 2.5 minus 7. And so we're going to get a negative 2.5 over 4.5 and a negative 2.5 over a, I'm sorry, that will be a positive 2.5 over a negative 4.5, which will be the same. And so to eliminate the points, we're going to multiply it by 2 and 2. So we'll have negative 5 over 9 equals negative 5 over 9. So we have that. Now, that would be the long way to do it. Let's go back and look at if I notice I could take out a negative 1 here and how much quicker that would be. So we have x over x plus 7 equals x plus 5 times negative 1 times x plus 7. Now when I multiply by x plus 7 on both sides, notice that both of these are going to eliminate, okay? And that's why we had a asymptote or a hole on the last one. And now all I have to do is solve this. So this becomes a divided by negative 1. So we have x equals negative x minus 5. I'm going to add x to both sides. And we get 2x equals negative 5, which will be x equals negative 2.5. And so hopefully you see the importance of recognizing that you can take that negative 1 out. Most of your work will have a factor that you can take out.